Hello everyone, Zellerant here, and for today's video on Umamusume, I thought we'd go ahead and talk a little bit about the upcoming, or the next, champions meeting, the Gemini Cup, as a lot of people, like myself, are starting to finish off their aces for the Taurus Cup, and so now we're starting to work on our parents and grandparents for the next one. And so this is going to be just kind of a general overview of the Gemini Cup and what you kind of want to look for when it comes to building your parents and grandparents, as this one's going to be much harder to build for than the Taurus Cup. And there's a reason a lot of people will call this one kind of the Whale Wars one, especially if you're going to want to try and actually win the whole thing. And that is because it has very strict stat requirements if you want to actually compete at that level. Now, just because it's called the Whale War ones doesn't mean you can't place in it. You can still get the gold, silver, or bronze. Just platinum's going to be extremely hard to get. And the reason being is it's a long 3,200 meter race. Everything else is fairly similar, except it's on the Kyoto track. It's basically a Tenno spring from the career. And as you know, in the career, especially in the early days when we had barely any support cards because we were saving up for Kitasan Black, this was the Tenno spring was usually the run killer if you could not hit the stamina requirements to actually survive the race. That's going to be the same case here, and that is going to be the thing that's going to be the big difference in this, is that you're going to actually want to max out your stamina on this one alongside your speed. And so kind of looking at different research, different older creators from in the past on this, as well as a video that someone has posted on my Discord quite a bit on this Korean streamer. These are the actual numbers that they're saying you kind of want to hit if you want to compete at the top level, which is going to be 1200 speed, 1200 stamina, 1000 power, 400 guts, and 300 wit. Now, you can kind of ignore guts because you're going to get that by default when you're investing that much in the stamina. 300 wit is just for the simple fact you're not going to have the ability to really invest in wit. You're going to be pushing stamina, power, and speed. And so how you're going to actually be able to obtain these numbers is through your parents and grandparents. They're going to be you cannot really make up for bad sparks with really good cards. And so that's going to be why it's super important to start working on your parents and grandparents now, because it's going to take a bit to get good ones that can kind of compete in making a good over that. And to kind of showcase it, we can take a look at the racetrack simulator here. And so I have a gold chip here. I have Anchor's Way. Anchor's Way is her ultimate. The only thing she has skill-wise for the kind of speed stuff. And then I add Kyoto Racecourse and Standard Distance Double Circle. They're actually going to be very important on this one, as when you put those stat thresholds in here, the only way to go over 1200 on stamina is through these. Now, it wasn't as important in the Taurus Cup because you can just get your stamina high enough for the Taurus Cup and be more focused on like the speed ones, like left-handed and spring runner. But here, just surviving the stamina requirements is going to be hard, and that's why they're going to be big. And to kind of showcase it with those in here, when I do a compare here on the race, when you look at the very end of the race, even with those stamina skills and stamina cap, you still run out of stamina at the very end. And to kind of showcase it, when it shows what skills are going to be the best for improving your distance here, when I run it with both of these and max stamina, it's still saying the recovery skills are going to give you the most distance, for the simple fact that you're going to run out of stamina before the end. And so it is mandatory. It was mandatory on the Taurus Cup to at least have one if you could somehow max cap your stamina. Here, you're gonna need one just to survive the track. Like it's not it's to avoid the nice natures. You need it to recover from nice natures debuffing you. No, you're not gonna be able to finish unless you have a recovery skill. You're not gonna finish without running out without a recovery skill. So you're gonna need one. And that does, luckily, actually get you across, as you can kind of see here. It will get you across with some stamina remaining. These skills make it a lot easier. Really, really good. But, as I just mentioned, nice natures are going to be a thing in there, and they're going to be debuffing you, as well as you're going to have a low wit. If you're trying to hit those numbers, your wit's going to be low, meaning the chance of hitting it is a lot lower as well on this. So you're actually going to want at least 2, but hopefully you can pull off getting 3 stamina skills, because this is more of an endurance race than a speed race. The stamina is more important. What I could see happening for a lot, especially for free to play that have not spent money to like get really, really good cards themselves, just to compete and hopefully be able to get like to Group B finals or even Group A finals and be able to and still play. So get like that bronze, silver, or gold medal. You'd be better getting like 1,000 speed and 800 power and max stamina. Like that. Oh, well, I didn't put 1,000 there. Like that'll be fine. That should hopefully help you place. Like I'm saying, I'm just using the hard numbers. These are like the big numbers to win the whole thing and have a chance at getting the platinum against the whales. But you don't need to worry too much about hitting power and speed if you're that free to play. The biggest thing is stamina, and then you make up for it with speed and power as much as possible. Because you're not going to survive without the stamina skills. But you can now survive. Once you have that one, if you have no debuffers, you can see here, it shows now skills are going to be what help you here. And so that is really nice there. And then you have your stamina ones that are going to be way at the bottom because they no longer provide value if you don't have nice natures. But the big thing that you're also going to run into is which ones are the good ones. Because one of the best Umas, Neridia Taishin, has a built-in gold one, but it's very unreliable. And so the ones you're going to want to look for are Swinging Maestro, of course. This one is a straight racetrack. We'll look at that here in a second. And so one that you've been probably skipping over for the Tourist Cup, but will be actually really good for this one because of its straightaways. Breath of Fresh Air. Those are going to be like your two easiest to pick up. And then you have Cooldown. Now, I believe it's for long. So Cooldown, everybody can easily get Cooldown. That comes from the free Welfare McQueen card from the story. So these are the three big ones. If you can get all three of those on your Uma, which is possible, even for free-to-play. Free-to-play card, borrow your Super Creek, and then Breath of the Fresh Air you can get in the career on an event. You get those three, you get these two, you are rocking and rolling, you're good on that stamina cap, and as long as you have decent speed and power, I think you'll be able to place without even taking into consideration the other skills that you're going to take, just because of how hard the stamina caps are going to be. Now, when we actually look at the track, though, just taking that into consideration, one of the big things that you're going to notice that's kind of different from the Tourist Cup is, well, one, it's so long that it's got 2 laps on it. There's a lot more straightaways. It's the one reason Breath of Fresh Air is actually a useful skill, because once you get past this first corner, you have a really long if it goes off here, good. You're fully utilizing that skill here. And on the second lap, you're fully utilizing that skill here, and you could potentially take advantage of it right at this part as well. And so it's huge and a lot more valuable than it was on the Tourist Cup, where it's either at the beginning or the end. Both of those places are bad places for it to be used, because you don't get the full advantage of it if you use it right out of the gate. And so that's the big thing. And that's also because the ending here is just a long straightaway. That's going to change the ultimates and skills that are going to be the better skills in it. And that's why you'll see the best Uma that... Now, the most popular Umas are going to be the end closers. So Gold Chip, if you've... Gold Chip, who's been good for the Tourist Cup, is also going to be good for this one as well as an end closer. Now, you can use the other ones like Oguri Cap and that as well. But just note, because the stamina caps, one of the best Umas, just to kind of mention it, that the one I'm going to be trying to build, but it's going to be very hard to build, is Neridia Taishin. She has one of the best straightaway skills, Encroaching Shadow, but the big negative is she does not have any bonus to stamina, while Gold Chip has 20, and Gold Chip has 10 to power. She only has 10 speed and 20 guts. Kind of disgusting on the stats. But because of that gold skill and her ult, she is the absolute best Uma. Now, we'll go more into depth than that when I talk about Umas, but just know that it's going to kind of shift which skills are important. Your straightaway skills are going to be good in this one when they weren't really good in the Tourist Cup. And you can kind of mention that. I'll put a link to this video that I showed the stats on here. They talk about it a little bit in there as well. And then you have like your best inherits. One of the big things is they mention is Majira Ryan is not as good in this one because of where it triggers. Versus now McQueen's is good. Ogre Caps is good, always good. Yeah, Symbol Rudolph. She's our next Uma that'll be coming out. Narita Bryan, and was it B-Wade? B-Wade? I can't remember the name or say it. But you have them, and then your best racers, of course. They mention here Narita, Taishin, and Goldship. But like I said, she's going to be very hard to build if you have her. Although if you can build her, she is, if you get those stat thresholds, get the skills on her, you have a very good shot of winning. Like the whole thing. It's just actually hitting the stat thresholds are going to be stupidly hard. And having the right ults and the greens, you don't even need like any of the other skills. And she should be able to win the whole thing. Then you have Goldship. She'll be easier to build just because they're 20 sit. And then you have the other good ones, Ogre Cap, and that. Pacers and Frontrunners are going to get potentially annihilated here just from the stamina requirements, debuffers, and all that. Same thing can happen to end closers as well, though. So, but that's kind of just a little overview of it. Definitely going to be the harder Champions Meet to build. And that's why I think I have mentioned this in the past. If you don't really want to heavily invest into this one, because it is going to be a very hard one to build, and you just want to do the strategy, especially if free-to-play, you could just start planning for the Cancer Cup, which I won't be talking about that one right now. But you could skip over this one and then spend 2 months building for the Cancer Cup instead, which will be much easier to build being a mile track. But that's kind of just a quick overview of the Gemini Cup. I'm starting to work on building my parents and grandparents. It's going to be quite hard because you're wanting to get that as many sparks as you can, stamina being the most important. Getting that URA finale spark, because that one gives speed and stamina when it triggers, and getting at 3, I think it's like 60 speed and stamina, so really big stat increases if you have all of them. That is how you're going to hit the stat threshold. But yeah, that's just a quick overview. I will be making more videos on this, on like specifics, like going more into depth, why Goldship and Narita Taishin's the best. What skills are going to be the best, which I've already kind of hinted at them being the green ones, like Kyoto Racecourse and Standard Distance, because those are stamina buffs that are can overcap. But there's other things you're going to want in there as well. But yeah, that's going to just be it for now. And if you like my content, if you could like, comment, and subscribe, it really helps. And thanks for watching.